Hey guys, so we are back from Britain's Strongest Man. We apologise for this video coming out a little later than we would like. We are very busy right now, aren't we?
Yes, we are. Very tired.
But we had an amazing weekend at Britain's Strongest Man, the first Giants Live of the 2022 season, and what a weekend it was. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I didn't enjoy getting the predictions wrong, but I was very happy.
I don't think we did too bad.
No, we got two people in the right place on the podium, Tom and Bish, but so happy for Pa.
Yeah.
He's someone, and I loved his post that he put on Instagram. He's like, I could write something stupid like, this is just the beginning. But like he pointed out, it's taken him a really long time to get here and he's worked really hard for it. So it was a very well-deserved
Pa's a
podium place.
really good guy. And we both said that they were really good events for Pa.
They were.
I think, to be fair to us, we did.
Yes.
And Luke Stoltman pulled out due to cramp. Luckily, nothing more than cramp. He thought it could have possibly been a torn or pulled muscle. Sat down for about an hour and everything loosened up and he was okay. So that's great news.
And we couldn't have envisioned that. That's, it's not our fault.
That thing happens in comp.
Yeah.
But Pa was always a threat. And he just got everything right.
Yeah.
It was great to see, Pa, so pleased for you, buddy. Really, genuinely happy to be proven wrong.
And a confirmed place now on this year's invitation list for World's Strongest Man.
Which is awesome for Pa.
It is awesome. And this is just, speculation, but there's a chance Shane Flowers could end up being invited based on his performance, especially, very sadly, Luke Richardson has re-injured his bicep and he would have been invited to World's Strongest Man. It's looking very unlikely he'll go now.
Yeah, unfortunate times for Luke Richardson. Amazing thing, I don't know if people saw, Graham Hicks set up a GoFundMe. The strength community got straight behind him. Got the money within a few hours for him to sort out the operation.
Really
so hopefully he can get that done. Really good surgeon to work with, and best of luck with your recovery, Luke. But yeah, opportunity for Shane, which, do you know what? I have to say, the three people that really impressed me, obviously, we'll talk about Tom in a minute.
Yeah.
But Tom was incredible. Pa, we've already mentioned, and Shane. Shane taking fourth place. Was it fourth place? Yeah, fourth place. His last two events, the sandbag throw and the stones, were absolutely incredible. World-class performances on both. To beat guys like Andy Black and Tom on the throw event, that is a special performance. So congratulations to Shane. Fourth place at Britain's Strongest Man, his second Britain's Strongest Man, his third Strongman competition.
It's really impressive, isn't it? Just to go in and to be so cool and keep such a level head, because he didn't have the best start with the shield. Now, I couldn't really see from where I was what exactly happened with Mark. There was like a mishandling of the shield. It went down.
I think Mark sort of went to pick it up and it fell.
Right.
And Shane was already stood up with his.
And he was just stood there holding it, waiting.
So
no one really knew what to do.
And then had to lift again. So that was unfortunate. But after that, he sort of didn't put a foot wrong. His deadlift's very solid, getting better all the time. His pressing needs a little bit of work.
Yeah.
But, still beating a number of athletes on that. And that's a tough axle.
People,
I've done these axles before. I know how hard they are. But I was talking to the Stoltman's coach and listening to the numbers that they're hitting in the gym, and you start thinking, well, maybe it is possible.
You all got way carried away.
We did.
Way carried away.
Did. 5 reps was the winning number.
I called it.
You did indeed. Liz making sure she's right again. But let's go through these results, because, for me, you cannot ignore how impressive Tom Stoltman was.
I thought, I would never say it, but I thought there was a chance that Tom could, I think we probably did say it, that Tom could win every single event.
We mentioned it.
And he was close. He dropped 1.5 points in the whole competition. He came second to Shane on the bag toss, and he had to tie his points with Bish on the deadlift. Yeah. But then he won the other 3 events. The stones, we're pretty certain he didn't even need to do the stones.
He didn't.
And we weren't sure he
needed to do 1 stone. So
Okay.
he needed to guarantee the points for doing 1 stone.
And I thought, I was talking to Sinead, we weren't exactly sure what he was going to do, but we knew he was not going to go crazy. He was going to take it pretty easy. And he still won.
Yeah, when
there were some
he
guys
kind
in
of coasts
battles.
through the stones and wins in a very, very quick time. And let's remember this is the heavier set of stones, not the lighter set.
And I'm really glad they've made that change because it did separate the athletes more in a better way instead
Well,
of being a race.
when we just look at the times, last year a lot of them were split seconds.
Yeah,
This
18,
has
19.
a good amount of time split between different athletes. Not every athlete doing all the stones. That's kind of what you want to see.
Yeah, you do.
Giants Live with the best guys. Obviously, this is the best guys in Britain, but some of these guys are the best guys in the world. And Tom Stoltman, I honestly don't believe there's anyone on the planet that could have beaten Tom this weekend with these events.
Bold statement.
That doesn't mean I think Tom's going to go on to dominate every single competition,
No.
but with these 5 events, it would have been very hard for anyone to beat him.
Events matter.
They do indeed. Power Dwyer, second place. Power was on 41.5 points. So Tom was 53.5 points at the end. Par 41.5. Adam Bishop 38.5. What did you think of Bish?
I think, well, going into this, I put Bish in third because I just knew these weren't great events for Bish. The overhead, I knew he'd hold his own, probably come mid to high pack. Deadlift. The problem with the deadlift is Tom's gotten so much better. Tom can match him now on the deadlift. Shield carry, poor old Bish. He's had, this was a great result.
This is the
for
best
him.
result we've seen Bish do on the Shield.
Yeah. And then throwing, I know Bish is a really solid thrower and stone lifter, but you've got guys there who can be a bit faster. So I didn't really rate Bish's chances overall of winning this competition, but I thought he put on a great performance nonetheless.
Looking at his performances, I'm just looking at the results now, he was just very solid.
Yeah, he was. Exactly what you'd expect from Bish.
Yeah.
Really consistent. Didn't really do anything, put a foot wrong anywhere. It's just not his best events.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Shane Flowers, we mentioned, is next with 35.5 points, and like we've already said, unbelievable bag toss, really impressive stones. His deadlift is very impressive. His pressing needs to get a little better, and he had a bit of I'd call it a bit of bad luck on the Shield.
On the Shield, I'd say so.
I think a different day probably could have done double the distance. It sometimes throws you when you put out early and someone makes that kind of mistake. You have to hold it. 200 kilos holding a Shield he was holding it for a good 10-15 seconds. That starts to drain you.
Yeah, and being, an inexperienced strongman, I know he's come from powerlifting, but strongman is still pretty new to him, especially at this level.
Well, I think, we talk about inexperience. He could have let that affect him.
Oh, yeah.
And talking of people that I personally think did let that affect them was Desmond Gunn. And, Desmond's a young athlete, and I do think he's got a bright future, but it looked like he gave up. And I think because he was expecting to do so well on the Shield, I think it went badly, and I just think that affected his head.
Yeah, that's the problem. I think when you think in your head, right, I'm going to have a great start and I'm going to be in this position, and when it doesn't happen, you think, well, where can I go from here? And I get it, but obviously that's part of being an athlete, is developing that tough mindset as well, isn't
Absolutely.
it?
Next place, we have Paul Smith in 5th place, and I thought Paul was very good, to be honest.
I did too, especially on the axle.
Yeah. He power cleaned every rep on the axle, which takes a huge amount of energy. And I actually questioned why he power cleaned, because personally I think it's a mistake.
Okay.
And he said he's got a chest injury. Right. So he can't actually do the continental clean because it sort of takes his breath away too much at the moment. So he had to go with the power clean, and he wasn't far away from getting that 5th rep.
No.
Very impressive strength on that. And solid performance all round, proving he deserves to be a potential world's strongest man invite if we're going to go down the list. Look at the names he's beaten: Mark Felix, Andy Black, guys that do regular Giants Live last year.
Yeah.
Very solid performance from Paul. Talking of Andy Black was 6th. I had him picked for 5th.
Yes.
What did you think of Andy's performance?
Yeah, Andy was solid and decent. The problem for Andy is the overhead. You just cannot... with such high caliber of athletes, you're not going to break the top 5 if you zero in an overhead.
Zeroing costs you a lot of points.
Yeah, too big a drop.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate. There's always going to be an overhead as well. So it's just something he's got to carry on working on. He's still so new.
Deadlift was very solid. That is a tough deadlift. He got 4 reps.
Bag toss, it was a shame on the 6th... there was a bit of a mishap.
I don't think it would have made a difference. Only 2 guys beat him, and I don't think it would have made a difference even if he got all 6 over without a mistake.
To be fair, yeah.
He looked like he just
He was slow in between those.
He was
backs.
slow.
My God, I wanted to put up a boot up his ass.
I think what he was trying to do was be really safe.
Yeah, I get that.
And
it paid off in a lot of ways, you know.
Yeah, it was solid, and his stones are always good. So, good, solid performance. I think we'll see better from Andy as the year goes on.
I think so too.
Next up, we've got Ryan England. I was super proud of Ryan.
Bless him.
Ryan England has had a lot of crap the last couple of years.
He's been
often
unlucky.
Overlooked. He was at a point where he almost wanted to give up at one point. And then he went away to Iceland last year for the Magnus Ver Classic, did really well over there. It picked him up, and since then he's been working really, really hard, and really good to see him put in a solid performance again. And 7th place at Britain's Strongest Man in this lineup, he'll be very happy with. I know, speaking to him afterwards, he was very pleased with how he did. Hit some PBs, beat the legend that is Mark Felix.
Yeah.
Talking to Mark in 8th place. Then we had Mark Steele, Luke Stoltman, who pulled out after the deadlift. Luke looked really good on the shield.
Yeah.
I thought, looking at the show, or looking at the athletes before the show, I was convinced Luke was there to challenge. And then he put in a good performance on the shield carry. And then on the deadlift, he did 2 reps, but he was stopping, and you kind of thought...
You could see he was uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, Luke's not the biggest deadlifter anyway. I think 3, maybe 4 reps was possible. I don't think he would have done more than that.
It would be a massive step up in his game.
It would. But he's got the Arnolds to focus on.
Yeah.
Luckily, no injury, just cramp. And hopefully, when you look at events, you probably say the Arnold events are better for him.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Better than this.
And then last place was Desmond, we've mentioned. I think just needs that experience.
Yeah.
He's got a lot. He's still very young, still new to the sport.
When, it's such a big step up, this competition in level and standard. You've got to be... You're going from maybe a lower level competition where you're placing really well to a higher level where you're near bottom of the pack, and it's...
The hard thing is your good events suddenly are still not winning
it's
you.
Still not good enough. Yeah.
But when you've got a Tom Stoltman in there or an Adam Bishop, and these guys are
takes time,
World's Strongest Man finalists, you could have had a Graham Hicks in there as well.
Yeah.
Luke Richardson, fully fit. They're all great athletes.
I mean, that you're a 2-time winner of Britain's Strongest Man. What was the first year you did Brits? Was that 2008?
2008, yes.
And then you won it in 2012.
Yeah.
So it takes time.
Yeah. I mean, Par's been to a number, and this is the first time he's managed to get on the podium. I think, for me, Par's performance was...
He's man of the match.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's give it to Par.
Do you know one of the funniest things, talking to Par afterwards?
Yeah.
You were there with me. The hardest thing for Par was to stay serious. He was trying to be focused and really show... Because Par's an amazing guy and has fun all the time. But it means a lot to him. He's a very serious athlete, but he's such a joker, and I think that's why we all love him.
Yeah.
But he wanted to prove that he was one of the best in the UK, and he definitely
He's
did
done
that.
it, yeah, definitely. This is probably the first competition in a long time where I don't have a video of Par performing fellatio on a banana.
Par, send it in. He
Yeah,
wants to see
please,
it.
I miss it.
Right, we hope you guys enjoyed Britain's Strongest Man. You had your behind the scenes video go out yesterday.
Yes.
If you haven't seen that already, go check it out. And we are getting ready to go to the Arnolds.
We are, my goodness. And
We've got
then
a busy few days.
Yeah, not long after that as well, it'll be Europe's Strongest Man. So if you missed this one, link for tickets to Europe's is in the description below.
While you're here, guys, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my awesome strength content.